Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind, a channel solely focused on exposing the abundant hypocrisy of the left. You know, the 2024 election really was a turning point for America, an inflection point. For years, Antifa and the far-left extremists were allowed to basically run wild. They were protected on a state and local level, and the idea of really cracking down on these left-wing extremists, well, it's politically daunting, to say the least. But we're now witnessing President Trump unleashed. It's his second term, it's the last term. He's not thinking conservatively. No, it's full steam ahead. And what's beautiful is that now a new standard is being set. He's kind of stepped over that line. Let's say he's pushing the boundaries. And I think in many ways that's now signaling an end to this era of lawlessness. Antifa has now been designated a terrorist organization, and now the first terrorism charges against Antifa militants in the country are being issued. This is, of course, pertaining to the case that happened with that armed ambush against ICE agents in Texas. I believe that was back during mid-early summer, if I'm not mistaken. But now the federal government is doing what it should have done years ago, treating these organized, political, violent terror groups as exactly that, terrorists. They're not protesters or activists, at least the violent ones aren't. They are domestic terrorists, and the crackdown has now begun. Let me show you guys exactly what's going on. We got some stuff to get into, so let's roll the tape. Alright folks, so here's the story. 2 Antifa militants have now been officially charged with terrorism for taking part in a coordinated cell attack on a Texas ICE facility back in July. And again, it wasn't a peaceful protest, it wasn't a bunch of frog costume losers chanting some nonsense outside the ICE facility. We're stolen people, stolen land. No, this was a planned armed ambush. They had body armor, explosives, rifles, lookouts, and they even shot a police officer in the neck. And speaking to this whole, oh, Antifa's not an organization, well, kind of hard to make that argument when this was clearly organized under the banner of Antifa. These terrorist degenerates in this case also gathered beforehand at a Dallas trans Antifa safe house that's linked to radical networks, and they launched a wannabe urban guerrilla attack here. This is domestic terrorism by definition. And well, now, in come the charges. Take a look at what Kash Patel had to say.
A grand jury indicted 2 members of an Antifa-affiliated cell that launched an attack on a detention facility attacking law enforcement and police officers. 20 individuals have been charged so far, but the key here is for the first time, under the president's authorities, designated Antifa as a domestic terror organization. We have charged these 2 individuals with material support to terrorism for their involvement in Antifa. This was a coordinated, planned attack by dozens of individuals to murder police officers. And Larry, a police officer was actually shot in the neck. These guys came and staged a scene at a detention center using fireworks, then brought in long guns and rifles. They were kitted out in bulletproof vests and masks and opened fire at law enforcement. This is what President Trump is prioritizing. We have to protect the men and women of law enforcement. And yes, Antifa exists. It's a terrorist organization. These are the first charges ever brought under this new designation. And this FBI is following the money, and we're going to dismantle these networks because people pay for this stuff. We're going to find them. They are equally criminally responsible as those that pull the trigger themselves.
People on the left and the far left say that Antifa doesn't exist. It's a state of mind, blah, 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 blah. You're saying 2 real people, domestic terrorists, okay? They were indicted by the grand jury. I mean, if they're not real, then how come 2 people were indicted and that they were involved in attacking the ICE facility? They have to be real.
Yeah, I encourage everyone to read the first sentence of the indictment. It says the North Texas Antifa cell. That's literally the opening salvo in the indictment. And where do these people collaborate and come from? It's not just Texas. They're out burning courthouses in Portland. They're out committing destructive activities in Los Angeles, and the FBI has arrested dozens of these individuals. And thanks to our new investigative programs under President Trump designating these guys as domestic terrorism, we have opened up multiple field investigations across the country looking at the banking and financial facilitation network. We are treating them as terrorists, just like we do Al-Qaeda or ISIS. People pay for this destructive act of violence, and those people are going to be brought to justice now that we have the authorities we need to go after them.
And that's what I mean by we are in a new era, a FAFO era, a crackdown on domestic extremism. These violent freaks thought that they could terrorize Americans, hide their identities forever. They'd just get away with it because they're part of the protected political group. But that double standard is going out the window. And I think now this ought to be taken as a warning. No more frickin' games. This is a warning to all of you violent leftist clowns out there. Act accordingly and watch your frickin' mouth. Because it's not just the actual explicit violent acts, it's also the issuing of threats online. If you're engaging in that kind of rhetoric, good luck. Threats of violence are not protected by the First Amendment, and this administration will hunt you down, just like they did with this clown, this Wisconsin man, a Democrat activist from Kenosha, who was just arrested and charged with threats to kill ICE agents after his viral TikTok video. He was quoted as saying, quote, "When y'all's bodies lay motionless on the ground, ice patch facing up at the sky, we're gonna loot your corpses, and I can't wait to see those videos." The suspect in this case is 38-year-old Andrew Stanton. And really just think for a second, could you imagine being 38 years old and recording this kind of a TikTok video? How incredibly stupid, how mind-numbing. But again, I guess these people are learning it's no longer Joe Biden's America. No, we've officially entered MAGA country, you absolute goons. And now if you engage in this kind of behavior, this kind of violent rhetoric, the feds will pick you up. And I say good. Good. Arrest every last one of them. This is beyond politics at this point. This is law and order, and I know the left is going to go on and on. Oh, a crackdown on American citizens, arresting political dissent. That is not what is happening here. This administration is dead right to ruthlessly pursue these people, to identify them, to expose and arrest them, to prosecute every last individual making death threats online against federal officers, and frankly anybody in the country. And no, that's not authoritarianism. That is how a civilized nation defends itself. That's how you set and maintain standards. Issuing threats of violence, threats to murder and kill, is not protected free speech. That's not freedom. Just like an armed ambush against federal agents is not activism, it's terrorism. And what these Antifa ghouls are now starting to learn is that we are not scared of them. But I guarantee you this administration is striking fear in their hearts. I'm sure you guys notice it, right? All of a sudden, these left-wing protests, they've gotten pretty peaceful. What's going on in Portland now? It's been mostly peaceful lately. Is it cringe, stupid, and annoying? Sure. But at least it's gotten a whole lot more peaceful. No Kings also happened, pretty much without a hitch. And the reason that's happening is because these people know if they act out, this administration will hold them accountable. It's like I told you, the LARP ends the moment real consequences are on the table. The only reason this has been allowed to happen for so long is because the Democrats enabled it. They funded it. You had Democrat DAs that let these people walk. There's blue city mayors and blue state governors that order the police to back down. All while the media called all these freaks on the streets peaceful protesters, when they so very evidently, obviously were not. And now, well, this administration has struck fear in their hearts. And it's not fascist fear. No, it's the fear of consequence. It's the law. And all of a sudden, things are better. And I'm telling you, that is going to continue because most people don't want to go to prison for 25 years. Most people don't want to get caught up in some anti-ICE ambush and then face terror charges, now do they? Absolutely based exactly what I'm assuming people voted for. And of course, most obviously, well, it's seriously long overdue. The FIRST Antifa terror charges have now dropped, and you know the news of that probably has all of their hearts dropping. Again, one word, good. Anyways, that's what I got for you guys. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.